And Major Ashish Dhonchak, who was one of the 3 officers to be martyred in the anti-terror operation, his last rites would be conducted in just a while from now. Major Ashish Dhonchak of 19 Rashtriya Rifles was martyred in an anti-terror operation in Kashmir's Anantnag. These are the visuals on your screens from Panipat as the mortal remains of Major Dhonchak are being taken to his native village. And Ashish, Amar, Rahe are the chants that are resonating as the mortal remains of late Major Ashish Dhonchak are being taken to his native village. So the nation is saluting the supreme sacrifice of Major Ashish Dhonchak. His last rites would be taking place at his native village a few kilometers away from Haryana's Panipat. But there you see a sea of people who've gathered to pay their last respects to Major Ashish Dhonchak, who is from the 19 Rashtriya Rifles, a decorated officer. Note he survived by a 6-year-old daughter, a wife. He was the only son of his retired clerk father, and also has 3 sisters. So these are the scenes from Panipat as the mortal remains of Major Ashish are being taken to his native village. Note he survived by a small daughter and his wife. He was the only son of his father. He has 3 sisters. A person whose valor and courage is being saluted by the whole nation as he laid down his life in service for the nation in the anti-terror operations in Anantnag. These are the scenes where the family is inconsolable. It's not just the family but the villagers from far and wide who've gathered to pay their last respects to salute the supreme sacrifice of Major Ashish Dhonchak. You see, the family is inconsolable as we speak, mourning the loss of Major Ashish, at the same time saluting his courage, his determination. These are the scenes from Panipat where the officers, the Jawans, are taking the mortal remains of Major Ashish Dhonchak to his native village where the last rites would be conducted. As we speak, there are chants of Ashish Amar Rahe that are resonating in the air. The family, while is mourning the loss of Ashish Dhonchak, is extremely proud of the supreme sacrifice that has been made by Major Ashish. Remember, he was one of the 3 officers to have lost his life in the anti-terror operation, which still continues as we speak in Anantnag's dense forests. In fact, the forces are going all out to avenge the martyrdom of the 3 officers who've lost their lives. Lashkar offshoot has taken responsibility. The park-backed terrorists have claimed responsibility for this attack in which 3 of our officers have been martyred, and the forces, the J&K police, are going all out to avenge the martyrdom of the 3 officers. So these are the scenes, somber scenes, where we see how people have gathered in large numbers to hail the sacrifice while the family is mourning the loss of Major Ashish. They are taking pride in the fact that their family member Major Ashish Dhonchak, was one of the brave hearts to have sacrificed his life in service of the nation. Let's go across to Amandeep as well for now, who's joining us from Colonel Manpreet Singh's residence in Mohali. Amandeep, a somber morning, so as to say, but tell us what are the scenes around you and when can we expect the last rites of Colonel Manpreet Singh to be conducted at his native place?
Well, Samiksha, around 11 a.m. the mortal remains will be arriving at the residence of Colonel Manpreet, and in fact around 2 p.m. the cremation will take place. And right now we are just standing in the cremation ground where you can see the preparations are underway. And the important part of this cremation ground is the entire village has been colored with the photographs of martyr Sena Medal Colonel Manpreet Singh. Such portraits, such hoardings has been put out in the entire village, showing that the entire nation is being proud for martyr Sena Medal Colonel Manpreet Singh, who was passionate, who was leading the operation against the terrorist, and in fact who laid down his life in the line of duty as well. Behind me you can see this is the cremation ground. At 11 a.m. the mortal remains will be arriving from Western Command at the residence of Colonel Manpreet, and around after paying the last respect, the last rites will be performed around 2 p.m. at this cremation ground. See, all the villages are here, and in fact on one side they are very much into the emotions that they have lost the hero of the nation, and on the other side equally they are very much proud that he was fighting against the terrorism, and in fact his life has been completely contributed to the nation. 2005 commissioned officer, and in fact a passionate officer who served in 12 Sikh light infantry battalion in which his father was also served. Colonel Manpreet Singh was quite passionate, and in fact he graduated as a commerce, but later he stepped down from the commerce line and decided to join the Indian Army, and just in 2021 he has decorated with the Sena Medal, and in fact leading the Rashtra Rifles. And even in Rashtra Rifles he was transferred as a lieutenant colonel, and later after leading the such operations he has been promoted as a colonel in 19 Rashtra Rifles itself, and leading the operation from the front. It was a habit of martyr Sena Medal Colonel Manpreet Singh. He always led the operations from the front, and this is not the first operation he was leading, and even he remained posted in the valley for several years, and even people narrated his stories. He has left with several stories to be narrated to the next generation, that how the army officers, how Colonel Manpreet Singh has performed. He was fighting from the front line against the anti-nationals. I request my camera person to kindly pan the camera and show you the visuals around me as well, just because certain stories for the upcoming generation has been left by Colonel Manpreet Singh. He was survived by one daughter, 2-year-old daughter, 7-year-old son, and in fact next month, Samiksha, his son's birthday was all set to celebrate with the vacation, and in fact Colonel Manpreet has decided to take the holiday to celebrate his son's birthday in the month of October, but unfortunately he was leading the operation and let down his life in the line of duty, and in fact now the entire village is in a deep sorrow and even consoling the family, and family is quite proud about Colonel Manpreet Singh, just because 12 Sikh light infantry battalion is the same battalion where his father has been served, and the moment his father has retired from that battalion, Manpreet has decided to join the Indian Army and in fact to serve the nation the way his father did, and in fact he joined after clearing the chartered accountants pre-test, and he decided to join the Indian Army. In 2005, Manpreet has commissioned as a lieutenant, and in fact in 2021 he was decorated with the Sena Medal, and leading the 19 Rashtra Rifles, who was actually, and even leading the entire unit and leading from the front all the consurgency operations in the valley as well. And Colonel Manpreet was quite popular name among the terrorists, and in fact Colonel Manpreet was, when he was decorated by Sena Medal in 2021, certain operations were being carried out by Colonel Manpreet and his unit as well, and in fact his name was quite popular among the terrorists, that Colonel Manpreet is leading 19 RR, and he was always in a habit to lead the operation. But today is a big day. Today is a day when the entire nation is being proud for martyr Sena Medal Colonel Manpreet Singh, and in fact in a deep shock as well that another hero of the nation has led his life in the line of duty, contributed his life in the line of duty, and that is the reason such posters has been put out, such portraits has been put out in the entire village village to show that the entire nation is standing in one line, saluting in one line to Colonel Manpreet Singh, to Major Ashish Dhonchak, and even to DSP Himanyu Bhatt as well. Just because all three of them were leading the operations, and they were fighting against the terrorism, and they contributed their life while fighting against the terrorism. See behind me, this is the cremation ground, Samiksha. It is all by 11 p.m. the Indian Army has released the timing that by 11 p.m. the body will be arriving at the residence of Colonel Manpreet Singh, and the last respect will be paid at his residence. The family will pay the close and dears and near ones will pay the last respect, and by around 2 p.m. the cremation will take place at this cremation ground with the full army honor, and the gun salute will also be given according to the ceremony of Indian Army. To see the visuals,
Yes.
they all are the visuals. Some of them are the relatives, just because Manpreet is the third generation army officer from his own family and even from his relatives as well. 22 people have served in the Indian Army from the entire family of Manpreet Singh. His cousins, his paternal uncle, and even several other family members have served in Indian Army along with his father and grandfather also. And in fact, Manpreet, everyone was proud about Manpreet, the way he was leading certain operations against the terrorists in Valley, and in fact some of the relatives has also worked under the battalion of Manpreet Singh, where he was appointed as commanding officer. So there are certain stories, Samiksha, regarding martyr Colonel Manpreet Singh that he has left for the next generation to be narrated. And in fact, the people should know that who was Colonel Manpreet Singh and how he was fighting against the terrorism, and how he had contributed his life to the nation, and how the family felt proud, and what are the family connections into entire scene. And even the third generation officer who was from the same battalion, 12th Light Infantry Battalion, and in fact where his father has served and retired from that battalion, and son turned out to be the officer in that battalion. So these are the several stories that he has left behind for his next generation.